premium talent now gone beyond the degrees, the title, the organization pedigree. With the premium talent, people should be more transparent and respectful of their time. 60 minutes gives you a good picture if you have a particular structure. Each and every interviewer in that process should know what his or her responsibility is. To all my candidates, whether they are in the process, they are starting to be in the process, I try and give them a personalized, or I tend to keep it in a way in which as much transparent as I can.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hired by iimjobs, presented by All Things Talent, the podcast where we talk to the leaders of today, shaping the workforce of tomorrow. And joining us today is someone who has practically lived every chapter of hiring playbook. Anurag Lakhera from SoftwareOne is a TA powerhouse with close to 2 decades of experience across some of the most respected brands out there. He's crafted recruitment roadmaps from scratch. He's built high-quality talent pipelines before they're even needed, leading TA teams, running executive searches, and shaping candidate experiences that actually make people say, okay, this company gets it. Anurag, welcome to the podcast and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Akanksha, for inviting me for the podcast. Good to be here. Now, I'm taking the taste of the medicine, how to be on the other side of the table and people asking you questions. So thanks. And thank you for the lovely introduction. I never pitched myself in a similar way. So it's a pointer for me for my next change.
Anurag, while, throughout the introduction, while I was thinking about, the definition of premium talent, let me just jump to that. And I want to start with the biggest paradox that people in the recruitment circle often joke about, that the market is flooded with resumes, yet somehow the right talent is always missing. And from where you stand, what really qualifies as premium talent today? How do you define it today?
So the definition and the current environment that we are in right now, it's very different what it used to be like few years back. From a premium talent aspect, if I talk about, it is gone beyond the degrees, the title, the organization pedigree that people used to look for. It's not that anymore. It has changed drastically, even for us as the recruiters or talent leads. Predominantly, the premium talent now, if I talk about, it's more from an aspect of people bringing the capabilities, adaptability, and the impact that they're going to bring in for the organization or the team that they'll be joining. They more inclined towards the learning curve or the agility that they want to bring in. They're more agile from an aspect of adapting the digitization or the changes of tool. Now the AI is changing the landscape of a lot of the roles, how they're adapting to it. So for them, the challenge is that they are looking for not more from an impact that they're going to bring in rather than just a task executor. So the platform has changed from the doers to the people who will make the impact that the organization is looking forward for. And even it's from a commercial aspect, the revenue for the organization. And most importantly, they are now coming up as organization culture elevators as well. So they're always looking for more collaboration and more, impact, the trust that they're building, the innovation that they want to bring in within the team. And that's the core motto for us as well in SoftwareOne, is what we are looking for, our future leaders that we want to hire externally. So that's the landscape for me right now, from a premium talent aspect.
Anurag, now that we've sort of defined premium talent, there's another layer, and I would want to talk about that. Like, there are so many assumptions about how a niche talent or a premium talent is to be hired or should be hired. In your experience, what do you think is the biggest myth that organizations still believe about high impact hiring or niche hiring?
Okay. Again, so pretty similar to the definition I said. Again, if we are looking for more from the title that the individual is carrying, the organization that the or the previous organization, the current organization that they're working for, that's not, it's not there anymore. The biggest differentiator in this case for me, it's like not that who has led. It's for us, it's who can lead differently now. That's the biggest mindset or a shift change that even as a recruiting team or even as a hiring team, when you have to inculcate, within the function. If I talk specifically as a SoftwareOne, as an organization, so for us in this, the way we have come up this misconception, we have started looking for the leaders who are learners first, decision making people second, and motivator always. So that's the key that we look forward for the talent that we want. It's not that we're not looking for executor. So that's the reshaping that the recruitment or the TA team needs to bring in along with their hiring, functions or the teams that they are basically supporting.
Right. While you were talking about, the kind of people you would want to hire or you hire at SoftwareOne, there is another paradox that, which is about finding this sort of a talent. We have talent that is very picture perfect on papers and everything seems right. But the biggest challenge is to find this talent. I want to ask you, where does your search or your team search actually begin? Because if you see, the premium talent is not even applying or they're not on any portals. So how do you uncover this hidden talent pool that is not actively looking, but is perfect for the role?
Okay. Uh, so I'll break it down into two parts for this particular question. So
Right.
the initial that the search for us starts with the calibration with our hiring team.
Mm.
We want them to be very, very specific from an aspect of the candidate profiling that they want. What capabilities, what sort of behaviors they should carry, what sort of decision making qualities that the one should have, that they be a successful hire or a successful employee with us in the longer run as well. So that's where the initial phase for us from a sourcing aspect basically starts. Then we start mapping these profiles. Maybe they might be working or might would have worked previously in the similar kind of problem statement that they might would have solved for their current or their previous
Previous.
organization.
Right.
So once that starts, that's where we start tapping the candidates in.
Mm.
So the outreach for, say, if I talk about the passive candidate, the phase two, if I come down to the question, if you're looking for a passive candidates, then for us, it starts from an aspect of, or predominantly more from personalized outreach.
Okay.
Going beyond the JD keywords, that is not
Mm.
what we want, because that's what, if I say, in between the taglines, the keywords, they're always there. And now with a lot of these AI tools coming up, you can make that shift in your profiling or whatever you want to do. So we start doing the transformation more from an outreach in which we talk more about the business outcome that this individual we are looking forward for, and what sort of transformation and changes that they'll be leading.
Mm.
So that's our
Right.
first phase of, or one part of our hiring. Then we have a very good, or we have actually started this from past 7-8 months now, the alumni network. The alumni
Okay.
can be the ex SoftwareOne employees who might would have changed due to any reason previously. One, alumni networks of our existing leaders from the institute or the university that they've been to. Maybe some of their batchmates might be working on the similar role, they might not be aware of it. So that's another outreach for us. And
Mm.
the fourth phase or the third phase for us comes down to the, and which is very prevalent right now, the industry specific WhatsApp and Slack groups.
Correct.
So a lot of people are active in that. You can go
Mm.
through those chats and the kind of problem statement that they are solving. So say for an example, for a developer or a DevOps engineer, you can go to GitHub or Stack Overflow. You go see the kind of problem statement that they are solving, and that's where you can go. Okay, fine. Let me give them my problem and see what sort of response that they come back to us with. So that's your initial conversation starting step, also in a certain way,
Okay.
which gives us the leverage to know them a little bit more better as a recruiters, more personally, that what they are anticipating, what they are looking for, even if what's their career arc that they want to move in for the next phase of their career. So that way, it gives us a lot of leverage also, and slight bit more bandwidth and the agility that we want from talent landscaping aspect. So these are few of the things that we have implemented within the team, and the team is actually working on.
Anurag, I was also thinking about the way premium talent hiring is also shaping up in metros compared to the non-metro cities. Is there a difference there? The way you look at talent, or the way the talent looks at a particular job in metros versus non-metros, is do you have any insights or any takeaways or any learnings from there?
See, your premium talent, whether it's in a metro or in a non-metro, it's pretty similar to me. Uh, I think the most important part for them is the value proposition of the role that
Mm.
they'll be contributing towards. If
Mm.
that clicks, then I would say to a certain extent, the money also becomes secondary. So there was a mandate for me to hire, one of our lead for our, finance captive. So that person actually moved from tier two city to Gurgaon
Mm.
because of the impact that, or the kind of deliverables that we want this individual to deliver for us. That ticked him, and that's the career arc. So he actually came through the network, and that's where the conversation basically started with him, that this is what we want. We are looking for someone who can do a little bit of transformation. The another problem that we had in that team was the attrition rate was a bit higher, because
Mhm.
some of the roles, they are very prevalent in market. So the people can, or the talent can leave you for a very quick sort of compensation side. I won't say from a role aspect, but yes, the compensation would have been one of the challenging part. And I think he had overcome with those things. So from past 1 year, the stability, the attrition percentage has gone down very drastically for that team. I mean, say for an example, if you were trending at around say 12% year on year, it has gone down to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, around 6 or 7% right now.
Mm.
It's where they are
Mm.
trending, which was a great win, even for us
Right.
as a talent team, and even for him coming into the new
Mm.
team. So I think it's all about again, the storytelling of the role and the organization.
I want to just jump in to another cohort, which is very difficult to crack, the Gen Zs. In the time of storytelling, when it is changing so much and it is evolving, the employer branding is evolving for almost every organization. How difficult or how challenging or how interesting it is to cater to this particular segment, to the Gen Zs. Have you kind of pivoted or changed your employer branding or storytelling for them, or it depends on the kind of talent that you hire?
It actually depends on the kind of talent that we would like to hire. For them, the outreach as an organization, and even from a branding aspect, we have changed and we have evolved. And very recently, we've been awarded as the best employee branding, organization as well. So we have our own in-house branding team, and to a certain extent, in a lot of spaces, we we do cater according to the functions need as well, with the kind of talent that they want, and it keeps changing for us. Like, we specifically for India, if I talk about, we thought that the career page is more European or Western side driven. So we came up with so our branding team came up with an idea that let's have a localized career page. So we thought, yeah, that's a good idea. So glad, I mean, I got an opportunity to be, part of that particular project. So then we started reaching out to the people, or all our functional leads. So we said that we need nominations from your team, and we want someone who's been with the organization for more than 5 years. So we gave them different segments of years of experience that we want. And then we picked a few of the folks from, if I talk about from Gen Z aspect, we said, like, some of the associates, we want them, associates who've been with us for about a year or slightly over a year. And we need people who have joined us very recently. And what was the thing that ticked them to be part of the organization? So we shot a couple of videos, some short stories that you can see about them. Then for all the recruiters, where we have all the requirements of the team, it's there, where we need junior sources or people with little less experience. So that's where these videos have actually played a massive part for our hiring, because
Okay.
they are able to relate more with the kind of people that they'll be, acquainted with. And we said, so few of the team members, they reached out to me and the other folks in the TA, like, people are reaching out to me, they're asking about the organization. So I said, just go ahead and give the true picture. How do you feel? If you've been with us for a year, you know the reason why. Money can be a factor, but that's not the only thing that you want to be with SoftwareOne.
Anurag, let's talk about the kind of pressure that comes with tight deadlines around closing certain roles, and the kind of impossible expectations sometimes from the candidates, or the kind of skills that organizations want to hire for. And you've handled a lot of these strict mandates and high intensity mandates. I want to understand, how do you approach your sourcing strategy under this kind of a pressure? What is your process like, especially when quality and speed, both matter?
Okay. See, so I'll say timeline, or the shorter timelines are not the norm.
Yeah.
That's the expectation.
Yeah.
Whether it's from the hiring team or even from our leaders. So it's not a norm anymore. It's the expectation. A
Yeah.
lot of time we face the issue in which the role is still under approval. "Oh, I want this individual." I said, first, at least get it approved. There might be a possibility that the finance come back to you and say, like, "Oh no,
We can't.
you've gone over budget for this year's hiring. We're gonna put it across, or if you want to do it, then we have to reshuffle it." So I said, it might, because at that a lot of time the engagement takes, you can't keep the candidate engaged for a very, very long time.
Right.
So in that case, some of the strategies, if I talk about, remains the same. The alumni network, reaching out to industry led WhatsApp or Slack groups. One, the another way that we look forward for in certain spaces in which we think that the hiring, it's on a great need, internal referrals. It's a great leverage that we have. Even in fact, for this year, I think if I talk about our source mix from a referral, it's trending somewhere around 35%, which is pretty decent for the volume or the number of hires that we have done. Secondly, again, going back to the drawing board, when we sit with the hiring team for our calibration sessions, in that part, we basically ask them that give us, depending on the number of roles, again, give us some targeted organizations or the name of the companies. So we try and shortlist between anything from 20 to 30 organization. We map the talent and see how that plays out for us. Start those conversations, reaching out to the folks who might be in the similar space, connecting with them either directly or through the job board, however it works out for us. One, and now with some of the AI sourcing tools that we are using, another one which we are using, it's from Naukri, AI Rex. So those are the ones which filter out or scrap the talent, the initial filtration for us. So as a recruiter, we give more time to have our, slight more strategic approach. If you want to build a pipeline in a certain way, if it's a recurring role, then the way we transition out to the recruiters, or for ourselves, try and have a humming pipeline. Even if the role is not there, have a passive engagement with the candidate. Oh, these are the kind of roles that we might come in future. Will you be interested? What you are looking for? So we'll try and keep, to the best of our capabilities, that we should have something in our kitty, that if something comes up urgently, so we can cater them as fast as we can. And at times you might have to change your game plan depending on the kind of talent the team basically needs. So it varies.
You were talking about keeping the candidates engaged, keeping the talent warm, and a lot of recruiters have spoken about that. It is one of the most challenging aspects of the entire hiring funnel. Sometimes become a bottleneck as well. How do you personally keep the talent engaged, like, and invested in the process without sometimes overwhelming them? Because it's a space that it could go any in any direction. The candidate might just drift away and never come back. So there is that sort of a risk there. But how do you manage that sort of a balance? And you don't have to reveal your strategy, but just yeah.
No,
What is that balance that you keep?
there is no specific strategy. The engagement basically starts from a very beginning. I always believe in, as a recruiter, we are the first, fascia of the organization.
Mm.
How I'm going to portray in front of you, that's how the candidate will perceive, or you will perceive
Correct.
my
Yeah.
organization,
Mm.
right? So so you have to, the touch base, for me, it's more importantly, if you're working with them or with the candidate as, their career planner in a way,
Mm.
not just a person who's just pitching a particular role. That's where the engagement, and you have slight bit more personal, touch with them.
Mm.
So for me, the engagement aspect, if I know that the role will take longer, the availability of my interviewers are slightly bit more stringent, or they might not be available, they might be based outside of India, so the candidate might need some flexibility from an aspect of the interview timing and all. So that's the first point. Whenever the touch point happens, I give them the walkthrough, that
Okay.
these are the areas, this is the timeline that we are targeting, this is the number of interviews that you will go through. Each interview will go from, say, for an example, from anything from 30 minutes to about 60 minutes, depending on who the person is interviewing, what's going to be the agenda of the interview. That way, it gives me an advantage, even if by any chance there is a delay, there might be a traveling, or the interviewer is not keeping well, or they have some another engagement going on in which they might not be able to take time out. So even during that time also, in fact, there was a recent course that I went through, and that's from where I picked it up. So every Friday, to all my candidates, whether they are in the process, they are starting to be in the process, I try and give them a personalized, or I give them a call on Friday, that okay, this is where we are. I'll come back to you most likely early next week or by midweek next week, depending on the availability of my team, and see how it goes. So that way, it has the doors are still open, even if it's not a call. If I'm unable to make a call, just an SMS or a WhatsApp or an email. So that way, they know that okay, an update is coming my way. There is something which is happening. There is a
Mm.
delay. What's the reason of the delay? And keep that conversation more transparent, because
Understood.
I'll come back to you. Even at personally, if someone comes back to me, a recruiter or even a hiring manager, I might not like it my way myself. So I tend to keep it in a way in which as much transparent as I can. So
Mm.
even if they're not feeling good about it, they can give me the feedback, and I generally ask them, during the process also, how was the conversation, any particular feedback about the hiring manager or the interviewer, something that has been asked which you thought was not relevant. So that way, that the feedback when it comes, so it becomes a two-way conversation. It's just not that I'm listening or I'm talking, or
Mm.
vice versa. So these are few of the areas or the places where I think I would like to keep an eye on and be on top of it, so that there is always a room to go back. Our work is networking as a recruiter.
Right.
So the better the network is, the better the talent pool flow will be.
Right. And you were talking about, keeping the talent pipeline moving. And, I was thinking about the times now when we're taking the advantage of AI and automation. And you work with a network of recruiters. You've seen how things play. How has it improved their engagement or their conversations with the candidates? Has it been a beneficiary factor for recruiters where a lot of redundant tasks have been taken care of by the AI? Have your team started using it? Or if you're using it, then do you see the kind of merits that people were talking about initially about AI taking care of a lot of tasks for recruiters? How is it happening within your teams?
Uh, See, so I would say it's a mixed reaction. Few of the folks liking it, some of the folks are thinking, oh, it's not giving me that kind of a relevant pot that I need. Because for AI, the better I feed in, the better output I might get. If I'm just
Mm.
giving a generic, search or anything, it might be a bit more generic for us. So
Right.
the investment from at the initial stage someone might find it's little bit more laborious, or I have to invest a
Mm.
little bit more time, or I can do the sourcing by myself. But then again, the way it takes off the time out for us from a sourcing aspect, specifically if I talk about, that gives the team a hell lot of time. At least about 2 hours a day. If I talk about a week, it's about 10 hours a week. Once get in their kitty, and they are able to invest more time on the engagement aspect or the
Mm.
personal outreach which they want to do to the passive candidates, because there is one place where the profiles are just flowing for me. All I have to do is just check base certain, predefined questions, yes or a no, maybe working out for me, might not work out for me. But yeah, those are the things that you can take a switch and come back onto it and see how the work flows. So it has given a lot of leverage uh, to us as a tool. But yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50, at the moment, the feeling that the team has. So let's see. Well, in one more month to go for this year, how the 2026 gonna play is where we'll see a slight bit more shift towards the tools.
Anurag, we've spoken a lot about premium hiring, how recruiters think and how candidates think. You've invested a lot of time in hiring these candidates. If you had to rewrite the recruitment or the hiring playbook for premium candidates, what is it that you would like to just throw out, which you think is not needed now, it has to change? And what is it that you think should never change or should be added to that playbook?
Okay, things should be, if I have that, you know, power to do that, or this is what we are trying to do also, but some success, some might not. One, the mass outreach, apart from the entry level role, it doesn't add no value. You invest a lot of time with very less, turnaround or an outcome that you get what you're anticipating. Number two, you have to train more and more towards the rigid aspect of the keywords. It's there, but not every time. It's not needed anymore. And third thing, if I talk about, and as you were asking about the Gen Z, one size interview doesn't fit for everyone, for every role. You can't go with the static. You have to have a particular, whether even if from a behavioral aspect, it has to be very much targeted with the kind of role that you're hiring for. It's just, you can't just go, oh, this is how it has been, we've been doing. We'll keep doing the same way. No, nowadays with the talent, it doesn't work out well. And even at certain, and specifically with Gen Zs, they are very, a lot of candidates I've met recently, they're very prompt with the feedback as well. Oh, it was not needed. This is something which is not required. So you have to come out of that mindset. So those are the three things I would say. I don't want to, I don't want to keep it. The things which I want to keep, as I mentioned earlier, your storytelling. It's the number one priority. The better you know the role, the better you are able to pitch to the candidate, and they are way better to understand what they are stepping into. And same thing goes with the organization. If you want more branding, material from the team, it can be just a simple PDF about the organization. But those are certain things which should be, embedded to every recruiter. Number two, your target sourcing. You should know your role and you should know the talent pot that you want to target. Basically, organization or the kind of talent we already have or the kind of talent that you want to bring in. So you should be very, very hands-on with your target sourcing. Number three is your relationship building. Again, work as, their career partners, not as someone, oh, there's some recruiter called me. It should not happen that way. The candidate should know your name, and even if they want to recommend, they should be able to share, okay, you can speak to X, Y, and Z in X, Y, and Z organization. Great guy, great, conversation. Even if it's not available, they should be, able to tell you what you want. And fourthly, just don't rely on what we have from an AI aspect. That the human conversation is always going to be there. The bots or the AI can give us the initial filtration, but then again, they cannot answer every single question the candidate is coming up with. They can be multiple things. And when you have that human touch, that is more and more, easy in transition as well. So these are the four things I would like to keep in my playbook.
Understood. That's a very solid playbook. I think I'm going to take some notes as well. And Anurag, thank you so much for taking us behind the scenes of what really goes in when you're hiring for premium talent. Uh, Throughout this conversation, do you think there was something that I didn't include in the conversation should have been a part of this conversation? Please go ahead and talk about it. I would love the audience would love to hear.
I think with the premium talent, I would reckon the hiring managers, they should, I mean, some of them we have started reshaping, or we have started bringing them as our, like one of my ex-managers used to say, talent magnets. So we have started building few of those, because those are the people who can actually give them how your day is going to look like, what value proposition that you will bring in for us, and what we are going to give it back to you as an organization. So those are the conversation I think should be more and more, acknowledging. Another part, with the premium talent, people should be more transparent and respectful of their time. The interview length also comes into that, should not go beyond an hour, because 60 minutes gives you a good picture if you have a particular structure. So with the premium talent, you have to have a specific structure. Each and every interviewer in that process should know what his or her responsibility is, and what his or her areas are to evaluate. I can't ask you, do you know how a CI/CD pipeline works, or how Kubernetes? That's my technical aspect. If I want someone to do a bit more, go deeper, then that's the architect's, job, not the program manager's role. So the differentiation of the role should be very, very, defined, and each and every interviewer should know what their responsibilities are, because then you remove the ambiguity out of it. And even if they're stepping into the role uh, as a recruiter, or even as a hiring manager, it's the responsibility that the role might come up with a certain percentage of ambiguity. It can be from a delivery aspect, or it can be from a client expectation aspect, it can be from budgeting aspect, anything. So the more transparent as an organization we are, I think that's where we have an harmonized relationship for future.
Thank you for those inputs, Anurag. And thank you so much, Anurag, for your time. It was great having you on the podcast.
Thanks a lot, Akanksha, for having me.